Well, it's very rare that I do two videos on an energy update subject matter, being the eclipse full moon worm moon. So this is it, guys. Today we have landed on the very day that has been causing all the chaos. This moon has been absolutely like next level. I have been experiencing the energy of this moon over a week before it came, right? For reals. And I think we've all been feeling it as well. You know, I always say 3 days before and 3 days after is when the moon is most potent. Apart from this one, okay? Apart from this one. This has been on another level. I said this morning to someone that it has been like the water rapids on steroids, but I haven't been in a boat. That's basically the best way to describe it. I woke up very, very early this morning, eyes pinged wide open, and I was like, I think I may be through the storm. So that's what I wanted to share with you, kind of like my experience and my go-to as I got myself through the storm. So, you know, the worm moon, I said in my other videos, that is all about, well, the Native Americans said, like, you know, they spoke of it being the worm moon because the earth heated up and the worms popped to the surface. So we're working with the fire element. I want to bring that element in very, very clearly, like, you know, very powerfully. You know, we all work with different gods and goddesses. Me, I'm Sekhmet. Sekhmet has been in and around us. And you know what? Not just the fiery Sekhmet. She's also been appearing to me very, very soft and gentle and, you know, purring and nurturing, which is another aspect of her. Now, this is a good sign that we experience her in this way because it means that we are indeed changing. In the beginning, when I used to connect with Sekhmet, it used to be fire and brimstone and like, yeah, burn that and war and rage and all this kind of stuff. And now I do experience a lot more different sides to her, which tells you, if you're experiencing the same thing when you're with Sekhmet, it means that you are indeed moving through your layers and starting to harness your power. So they call them the goddess of 10,000 names. That's why, you know what I mean? Because it's not just one version, right? And we are exactly the same. So work with the element that is really, really on point with this moon right now, which is indeed fire. Okay, burning things. Write down your list. Get rid of your stuff, put it into the fire, say a prayer. You know, the violet flame, you know what I mean? Sekhmet, sacred flame. You know, there's a meditation that everybody works with, you know, on this YouTube channel, which is all about, you know, obviously the sacred fire initiation. You know what I mean? Do everything you can to work with the flames in a very, very soothing manner, and it will assist and it will help. Okay. So now I've got a whole list here of kind of like how I worked through the negative energy, which was so powerful, by the way. I thought that I was literally going to spontaneously combust yesterday. I spoke about it in my other video and it got to a new level of peak yesterday, which I actually thought I was borderline hysterical. And I did 2 sessions of yoga. I did breath work. I meditated and it didn't change. Okay. But then I made a breakthrough and that's what I'm going to share with you. Okay. So first of all, with anything, okay, and especially this moon has been digging up very, very deep layers, okay, of your inner child stuff. It's the base layer of stuff, you know, and it's the real stingy stuff. It's the important stuff. It's about your inner authority. It's about, you know, claiming your power in that way. It's about like going to your inner child and reclaiming all of those lost soul parts because they've been in the corner, like traumatized for so long. So it really is about inner authority. And this inner authority isn't about walking around and just shouting at everybody and demanding their attention. No, inner authority comes from you giving what you need, seeing to your own needs, not going to war with someone or anything like that. It's actually being able to say, does that work for me? Do I feel comfortable with that? No, I don't want to do that, because what would actually work for me is actually this. Say it. Say it. This is all very throat chakra stuff as well. It's huge upgrades that's been going on with the throat chakra. This is why we're bringing it out into the open. So you must say it. That is attending to your needs. That's make sure that you're putting yourself first. So this is like across the board, very important. And we're all being challenged to see to our own needs and address our inner authority. Do you have inner authority? If not, your life's going to be all over the place. And this is what's going to bring up all the fear and anxiety and the resistance. So you really need to identify it. So try and sit with this and see what is actually bursting through the flames. Because remember, the flames the flames go under your ass, as it were, and it makes you go, whoo, I got to burst into action. But it makes everything come to the surface real quick, right? So with that surge of whatever's been going on for you, what is it that's coming to the surface, right? So now, what pattern are you running? What is the old, outdated pattern? Okay. Now, like it could be that, you know, lack of self-worth, or you're unlovable. You're not worthy of a good relationship. You know what I mean? It may be that things always fail for you in your business. It may be that, maybe it's a sickness. Do you know what I mean? But there's an old pattern that you are running that is now, in this moment as I speak, tweaking on all cylinders. Now, I know that we could go through a whole list of them because there's always that, but there's one major thing. And I'll use me as an example. I don't mind at all. My one that came up because I'm in the middle of a gut cleanse, the pattern that I've been running that has caused the baseline of everything is value of self. And that's directly connected to my success or not. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I had to look at. And I was just like, wow. So that was an ancestral thing for me. You know, coming from a family where all business and entrepreneurs and, witness people losing businesses and failing a lot and all the rest of it. And then they became successful. Then they were, do you know what I mean? And it was just like, that's how I kind of like looked at life in my family. And that's what I learned. And I was just like, oh, your self-value is definitely connected to your business. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I got taught, and that's what's come out in my life, which has been very, very difficult for me to step into the full. I mean, I've done pretty bloody well, been dragging that tractor tire behind me, but I identified what this pattern was in this now moment, and that's what's coming up in a big way. So what is your version of that? So really put the success to the side. The biggest thing that came out for me there was my value. Where do I take value from? Where's my reflection of that? Do you know what I mean? Do I take my value from other people? So if they say I'm a good person and they think I'm all right and they're being nice to me, oh, that's okay, then I'm in. Do you know what I mean? Or, if something goes right, if you manage to get to gym, 5 days in a row, oh, I'm successful. I've done well. Do you know what I mean? If we've managed to stick to that diet that you hate, do you know what I mean? And then all of these things fall away. So then you fall into self-judgment and punishment. Do you know what I'm saying? So where are you drawing your value from? Okay, that's really, really important, because it has to come from you. That's your inner authority, right? So what is the pattern that you're running? I'm just giving myself as an example so you can sit with this and think, right, yeah, what is my pattern? Okay. So now the energy that you're feeling, okay, call it full moon madness, whatever you want to call it, but that feeling sick and just nowhere to go and you're just not feeling good. It's the resistance. The reason you feel anything like that is because you are resisting what you need to look at, right? So the best way and quickest way out of this is to look at it and work with it and change it, right? So take your head from this way, turn it, look at it, okay? Deal with it, right? So that's why you're getting sick or you're feeling shit, is because you're ignoring it, right? So that is what the worm moon's all about. Worms coming to the surface. What are you ignoring that needs your attention? You can't ignore it anymore. This is what this particular moon is all about. And that is it, and that is all. Look at it, right? And then consciously release the emotion. Now, there is a meditation on here, which is called Mental Alchemy, which does exactly that. But the idea of it is sitting consciously with it, not resisting it. So for example, if you are feeling that you are a failure, okay, and that energy is really coming up around you and you've got a whole story that goes with it, get rid of the story, go into the feeling and the emotion, because that's what it really is. It's just, the story is the story. You would have to experience a feeling because it has to be delivered by a story. I can't just say to you, right, go get angry now. No, you need to have something that happens to make you angry. You need to have a story to stimulate you into anger, So there's always a story for that reason, but that's all it is. You leave that there, but then you work with the energy and the emotions. So you sit there and you feel, where am I feeling it? Mine is all up in my shoulders. Okay. It's all here, right? It's like it wants to push out and it's not being able to, so you might find it in your back. You might find it sciatica. It may come through you as insomnia. Do you know what I mean? But it's trapped in your body in a dysfunctional way. So it's basically going into the feeling and just opening your heart, closing your eyes, opening your heart and just allowing it. Saying, I am awareness, expanding into the awareness and opening up your energy field because you don't realize you're so constricted, and just allowing yourself to have a cup of tea with it. It's okay. You can be there. I don't mind. Rather than going, oh, I don't want, and all the red lights are flashing. Allow it to come up. When it gets a little bit constricted, breathe, open up your heart a little bit more. Allow it to come out a little bit more. And you may have to sit with it for a minute or two. Breathe again. Inhale and exhale. Anubis obviously agrees. Inhale and exhale, release it. You know what I mean? So, just keep running the energy, and then you will feel significantly different. So that just takes a minute or two to do, right? So now, point number 5 requires you to physically do something differently, okay? Really, I mean, what it means here now is like, remember the intention, the Heka, intention plus action equals creation. So in this case, intention, yeah, I see that thing that I don't want. Action is like, well, I got to get in there. I got to face it. I got to do things differently, because if you repeat a habit, you're going to just enforce it. Like if I keep going to train the same quad in the same exercise, it's going to be imbalanced. If I go and do like, do you know what I mean? Like one arm, I'm going to have just one developed arm, and it's just going to be imbalanced. So you've got to make sure that you're not doing the same thing over and over and over again, even though you've just released the emotion. You go back and do the same actions, of course, you're going to bring the same thing back in again. So what's the point? So then this is why the next stage is you've got to go and do something different now to create something else. So requires you, I'm reading from my notes here, requires for you to physically do something differently, and this must be continued. And what I mean by that is, so for example, you can't just speak your truth to somebody once and go, oh, thank God that's over, I've done it now. Because no, it has to be a new way of life. It has to be a rhythm. It has to be enforced. Muscle memory must be applied, right? For you to then strengthen that muscle and be in that all the time. You can't just go into one dab and go, okay, well, I spoke to that person and I'm going. Understand and know you will be challenged again to speak it up again and again and again and again. And it will get easier and easier. And you'll be very, very surprised as to how less energy it takes and how much calmer in your system it does when you're just sitting in your truth. And they're all mirrors out there anyway. They're in your movie. You put them there. They're only there to make you kind of like do this. Do you know what I mean? It's like as soon as you do this, all the people out there change anyway. So it requires now for you to go in a different direction and to do things differently. Take a different stance, do things differently, change the narrative. You know what I mean? But if you're not going to do it, if you're not going to get to the action part, nothing's going to change. We need change, right? So now, I now want to talk about like what Mary Magdalene speaks about, which is basically in her, like everything is the 7 wisdoms of teaching. I'm going to call it that. That's my version of it, right? So everything is 7 gates of Osiris, the 7 lords of Amenti, you know what I mean? Like there's just so many references to 7, the 7 arrows, the 7 stoles of Isis, and so on and so on and so on. Basically, this is basically the steps to ascension. And I'm actually going to do a separate video on this because this is more of an energy update to help you get through it, action it in this everyday life. Let's do it. But I want to do a video on the sevens that I'm talking about, because this is actually really, really deep-seated, what we're actually doing here. We are actually working through the halls of Amenti. We're going through the 7 stages of consciousness. Each gate is an initiation, and you have to unlock it. However, as Mary Magdalene also teaches on the 7s, being in a dark night of the soul or kind of going through your shadow. Yes, you work through your shadow, you work through your shadow, you work through a shadow and have a shower as well. But this is where the important thing comes in. At some point, the right point, discernment, your power of discernment kicks in. To know when to step off the merry-go-round, to then choose a higher level of consciousness, a higher point of attraction. That is the truth of all of this. We need to spend less time in our shadow and talking about it. We may need to honor it, that there's a process, but then we go through the shadow. And like today, I decided, went to bed last night, I was like, right, that's it. Now I'm done. I'm now putting my point of attraction up there because this is now going to be different. And I'm now choosing the highest light, okay? Because I'm done with the shadow and the lessons and everything like that. Because essentially that is all it is. Are you going to sit in a classroom all your lives? No, you're not. At some point you graduate and you leave university, and then you go out there and you live your life and you go and experience what you've learned at university to make a business or whatever it is. And then you just live your life and you grow and all the rest of it. But you're not constantly at a classroom table learning, are you? So that is the same thing about being in the shadow. The shadows are there to help you learn, to reclaim your power. But then once you've got it, you have to know, right, school's out. I'm done now. I'm up there. You know, so now the most important part of this is basically saying through your power of discernment, okay, it is now time for me to find the highest star. Okay, and I'm going to connect with that. What does that look like? That brings me on to the final point here now, new karmic relationships. You know, you will be looking around you now because karmic relationships, they are across the board, and we can have good ones and we can have bad ones. Keeping your counsel nice and light can only be attained from keeping your energy within nice and light. This comes from basically where you vibrate here will dictate what you've got going out there, because all those people, places and situations need to bring you the lessons for your higher learning, but then you need to actually choose something different. So that is the power of discernment. Now, what we're noticing with this full moon as it comes and washes everything away is we are letting go of old karmic relationships that do not work, relationships that's harmed us, hurt us, just don't fit, don't just work. And that comes with coming to the point with you choosing your own inner authority. Get where I'm going with all of this? It's all feeding in. This is where it all comes in. So karmic relationships now become good karmic relationships. People you're going to create with, people you're going to go to ceremony with, people you're going to go on holiday with and just have a good time. People you're going to hang out with and have a glass of wine and just have a good time. Do you know what I mean? Good, healthy, strong relationships. That's what we came for. Love vibes, right? So this is all coming out in the wash as your inner authority comes online, because you're now basically speaking your truth and you have now decided you're seeing to your needs because you understand that's the pathway forward. Union can only be attained by you having a love affair with yourself and putting yourself first. So that is where karmic relationships now, if you look around, you'll probably realize that you've got more good people around you than bad. Okay. Whereas before, I don't know about you, I had a lot of shade. I had a lot of shade and I had to trim my branches, but that was just my lessons and I had to just choose. Do you value yourself enough to choose this next level? Choosing your next star. Be discerning on when you step off this crazy roundabout. Okay. So that's my messages for you today for my full moon map and compass on how to get through this shit and not die. Okay. That's it and that's all. And I am going to be doing some videos today, a little bit later on the halls of Amenti and, you know, the seven powers and things like that, going a little bit deeper in what this is all about. So they'll be uploaded in the coming times, you know. So now, just as I close on that, just to ping on your radar, because this is a very powerful time we're in, Heka Healing Oracle reading. I'm inundated with those that are jumping onto this now because they're an hour and a half, 2 hour sessions, really easy to, you know, put into your time, because I know a lot of us are busy, but you shouldn't be, because you should be putting yourself first. But like the Heka Healing Oracle reading, unlocking all of this that I'm talking about, creating a pathway forward. And then from the reading, we can ascertain what soul part we need to call home, because this is what this is, that is holding your superpower for the next level to be able to action your discernment, to be able to choose that higher star. Okay, that is what the Heka Healing Oracle reading is all about. And the ones that I've done so far, every single one is different depending on the person. I have 2 booked in today, which I'm really excited for. And I just know that they're going to be different because I'm just a conduit. So, you know, but they're very, very powerful and they're a redirection. So I cannot recommend these enough. You know, look, the mentorship is obviously epic and amazing and powerful, but I have to say, delivering what is supposed to be in alignment for you know, in the sweet spot, definitely the Heka Healing Oracle readings right now. You know what I mean? I think maybe once we get over the hump, then we'll be re-looking at the mentorships of like, okay, where are we going now? We've come over the other side of the mountain. That's where I feel the Heka mentorships will find their place again, because they work with energy. That's what all of the stuff that I offer works with. It's kind of almost seasonal, if you like. Do you know what I mean? So right now, we are working in hot energy, and, you know, and the Heka healings are really working well with that. So if you feel called, reach out. Let's get it done. But anyway, keep on trucking. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And, you know, keep shining that light. Higher star.